that this was during the war. It was in 50,
60,
in
65, 66. Yeah.
You were born in 66.
Yes.
This was in 65. And there were so many funny stories. I mean, it was a very tragic time, and it was a frightening time, because when the war started, people didn't know the war was starting, because the raiders, they had just forced their way in, and they took the army by surprise. So that night, there was such a lot of action, and they had a thing called a control room. Now they didn't have all the sophisticated stuff that they have now. I'm talking about 65. So they had big maps of the area, and they had these like drawing pins with different colors, which plotted where the enemy was and where our men were, and stuff like that. And all the time telephone calls kept coming in, and many of the telephones were operated wound up like that.
Yes.
And
still working.
Yes, it was wound up like that, then it came to life. So then I was told, and then of course my husband had to be in the control room, so he didn't sleep at all during those days and nights, and always he'd come back very tired, and he'd go to sleep in his uniform, so that he had to be prepared to just walk out even with his boots and get the hell out of there, because anything could be happening. And he had gone away for a long time, and I didn't know that, because there was this huge house that we were living in, a double-storied house, and there were about three or four orderlies, and of course there was a civilian cook.
And the guard.
And the guard was there, yes. And the guard had made an underground thing, and they put a switch for hot water for me to have tea to drink. Who the hell wanted to drink tea if you could be killed any moment? What nonsense this was, Peter.
She needed something stiffer.
And you know what happened?
Especially when I was in there.
And then the firing started, and you won't believe the firing went on throughout the night, because we didn't know whether they were coming near, whether they were taking possession of the city, or what the hell was happening. We, at least I didn't know, because I was alone, and there were these guards and people like that who tried to push me into that underground place, and I said no. And Pakistani planes began to come over, and they were bombing the airfield. So we could hear the bombing, and when we could hear the shooting, and it went on, and there was no way her father could get in touch with me, or maybe he had no time to get in touch with me. But I was quite bewildered.
Of course.
And so I saw his beautiful cabinets full of all kinds of drinks. I said, just let rip. Benedictine mixed with whiskey and with a few drops of liqueur.
And you were how many months pregnant?
This was before the war. This was
65,
long
okay.
before you were thought of. You came in 66, this was in 65. We had just been married 1 month.
Gosh.
And this went on, and the shooting was going on, and I was, after a while, at first I was sort of, well, I don't know, when I was young I was not really very jittery like I am now, but still one feels nervous, and when you're all alone. So after a certain number of cocktails, I didn't give a hang. I felt so lovely. I never felt like that. I thought I could fly out of the window. was the bombing going on, and there was the shooting going on, and I didn't care. It had no meaning at all, except that I was flying.